Jasmine Jones. I am a licensed clinical social worker. You are now watching Black Girl Therapists in the Wild, and this is a little show I like to call Therapist Sips and Reviews. Today we are reviewing Insecure Season 5, Episode 7, Chillin, okay? And we are drinking on a strawberry shake from Fat Burger with some vodka in it, yeah. I figured why pour it into the unicorn goblet? We'll just use the regular cup and enjoy the any flavors that are circulating in the original Fat Burger. As you can tell, I had a few sips before I started. Well, we're gonna get through this. We're gonna chug-a-lug-a-lug on. So, let's get the elephant in the room, or the elephant to me anyways, out of the way. I fucked up my pinky. The nail has come most of the way off. It's like down here somewhere. Look at the rest, and then look at this. The rest is a piece of art, and it's bothering all of my senses. I'm just upset. I'm bothered. My feelings are hurt. And it said online it's going to take 3 to 6 months to grow back. But I take a lot of biotin and MSM and what is that, fish oil shit. So my nails tend to grow pretty decently fast. So I'm going to pray to God that this shit grows back in at least a month. Because this is not fair. I already had the design for I was getting into the whole acrylic situation, learning about them, picking out random designs I saw on Google, taking them to my nail tech, and they were all excited, and I would be excited, and we'd be excited together. And I had my next design picked out. I was ready. I was like, at the end of December, I'm gonna let them grow out for that long, and then I'm gonna get a new full set, because this was a fill. If you don't know about acrylics, Google acrylic fill. I'm not going to explain it to you. But this was a fill, and I was in my car and I had my cell phone on the little attachment thing to the window, and I was reaching to get it, and my pinky jammed on my steering wheel, and the whole partial nail came. It looks so nasty. Look. It's like, I just keep staring. Every time I look at it, it looks gross. And it makes me realize why I could never be a doctor, like a medical doctor. Like, that shit is disgusting. Anyways. So yes, if you see, because I talk with my hands a lot, and if you see me waving them around and you happen to notice the disaster, that's why. That's what happens. Hard. So anyways, we are giving 90s girls night. There was no booger. I was just looking to make sure, so don't come for me. We are giving 90s girls night, waiting to exhale, dancing around the table, practical magic vibes in this episode with the girls.
Hey! First, our group massage at 5 p.m. But right now, we pregame for maximum relaxation.
Issa is having the homegirls over for a night of smoking weed, drinking, playing games, and then they were supposed to go to the spa, but it flooded apparently. So I go to Korean spas because they're only $20 and you can stay there till midnight, and it's amazing. You just have to be okay with being naked. I don't mind. I have titties, they have titties, we all have titties, it's fine. But anyways, they are having this magical girls night, and we are flipping between them and Nathan and Condola. So it starts off with the girls coming over. Tiffany, Kelly, Molly. They're coming over to Issa's house. They're smoking. They're having a good time. They're chit-chatting. Everything is great and wonderful. They're coming over. They're there. And the thing is that they're trying to kind of help soothe Molly because of what happened with her mom, and they want to just kind of support her through it. So they're having like a girls' night, and it's going to be great and amazing and awesome. So they're pre-gaming before the actual girls' night, so they're smoking some weed. I think Kelly stopped drinking, so she's just smoking weed. And so the girls are drinking and smoking, and it is what it is. Then Issa gets a phone call. Apparently a pipe burst at the spa, like I said, and then they decide just to they have 3 hours. So they're going to play this game called hat question, question hat. They all write down questions and put them in a hat, and then they ask each other questions. And Kelly's just being all mystical about it. She's like, this hat game brings up things and emotions and things and stuff that maybe we're not all ready for, because the last time we played such and such and blah 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 happened. And so apparently it did this evening. So
It's starting.
they start the hat game, and then as they start, we switch over to Lawrence and Condola, and Lawrence is being the best co-parenting daddy he can be. Apparently Condola has some shelf pieces that she was building, and they were outside, and so Lawrence is going to build the shelf for her. And I just feel like what Issa's doing with the men in this show is that she's showing what leads up to men becoming fuckboys and deadbeat dads and people that dip on you for no fucking reason. She's showing the mental health process that leads up to that. So with Lawrence, we see that he just didn't like Condola, so he associated Condola with the baby, and he didn't want anything to do with it while she was pregnant. With Nathan, he's avoidant, so you know, she's showing that, and then she's showing how to fix it. How you reconcile and apologize for the fuck shit you did and be a decent person. And so we see that Lawrence and Condola are figuring out the co-parenting situation and figuring out how to do things together. And I am so happy that she's showing men how to, you know, apologize and figure shit out. But at the same time, I just want him to be with Issa. I don't want him and Condola talking about, oh, you're such a good dad. And I was just like, yeah, I guess. That's cute. I don't want him fixing her shelves. I guess that's cute. Yes. And I just felt some type of way about it. And I was just like, please let this just be. We're friends. We're friends and we're co-parenting, and that's it, because he needs to be with Issa. Oh, God. They're going to give us. They're going to pull an awkward black girl, and she's not going to end up with the black nigga that we want her to end up with. She's going to end up with Nathan. I don't like them together. I mean, maybe you all have your own thoughts and feel. I don't. Nathan is not where she's going to be financially. Nathan has issues with avoidance, and he's working through them, and he apologizes and all this other stuff, but I just feel like, But anyways, we're at the shelf. He's making the shelf for her, and they're just bonding over the baby and the shelf. We go back over to Issa and the girls' night, and they're pulling the cards, and I guess they ask some question, and Issa is talking about how she feels like her and Nathan are up in the air because of their argument, because Nathan was being an asshole. And she was saying how, you know, he called her inconsistent.
The rest of your life with the last person you slept with, how would you feel?
I don't know. Nathan and I are kind of up in the air. And he called me inconsistent.
What?
No, you crazy. Wow, really?
And her homegirls, of course, being homegirls, are going to support her and be like, no, you're not, girl. But it was a hella fake support. Just like, yes, you are, girl. Yes, you are inconsistent. And, you know, but she's saying that she and Nathan are up in the air. And then she's talking about Lawrence and how she ran into Lawrence and Condola at the hospital. She conveniently left out that she didn't talk to them. And she's just like, yeah, you know, it was awkward, but, you know, I'm glad to hear that they're together and they seem happy. And why are you assuming they're together just because they're there with the baby, girl? Why are you assuming that, girl? Why? But she's just trying to act like she's fine. She's happy with it. But she also mentions that she really loved Lawrence. And then she sits back down and she just is like, you know, and Molly's like, well, you made the right choice. And then Tiff's just like, well, what do you mean you made the right choice? What if you didn't make the right choice? Or some shit like that. And Molly was like, well, I mean, you didn't want to be somebody's stepmom and shit like that. And I'm just like, are we going back to season 1 or 2 or wherever where that bi nigga was talking to her? And she's like, oh, he had penises in his mouth and anus. Oh, I cannot. And then she missed out on a good ass nigga. Because at the end of the day, it's inconsequential. Unless he's like a Future and he's just going around making like 1,500 babies. A fucking, what's his name? That's fucking all the light skinned bitches and mixed bitches and making a bunch of babies. little Nick Cannon making a bunch of harems and he obviously has an issue, then why is that a problem? Like, I'll take a man with one child. It's one child. He's not out here trying to actively make a bunch of babies and stuff. You know, and I just feel like Molly maybe still has limits. And, you know, and here's the thing. Let me back up, because I don't want to say that if you have a boundary where because I kind of want to start a family and be the first when I meet the man that Jesus has for me. I hope it happens soon, Lord Jesus God. Yes, I would like him to not have children, but is that a deal breaker? I mean, I'm 34, I'm gonna be 35. Yes, I look young and fabulous and in my 20s and stuff, but I'm getting older, and logically speaking, the men that I'm dating will be getting older as well. Is it going to be a detriment to me to just leave out a whole demographic of men just because they have a child? I will take one child. I'm not taking more than one, though. I can't deal with more than one at this point in time. Maybe as I get older, I will be like, well, you know, now I'm 40 and Jesus still hasn't. Are you going to do me like Sarah, Jesus? You're going to do me like Abraham and Sarah, where I'm a decrepit 80-year-old and you're just gonna be like, here's a baby, here's a husband. Don't do me like that, Lord. Don't do that to me. And you know, then I'll have to think about it, because then you got niggas that are damn near grandparents because some niggas had babies in their early 20s or when they were teenagers and shit, because shit happens. And you gotta be like, oh well, I guess I'll just have to take 2, maybe 3, and a grandchild. God, don't do that, Lord. I know it's hard. See, that's why I can't be totally off what Molly was saying, but at the same time, you can't just like cut out a whole demographic of niggas because they have a child. Because this is the age range where most of these niggas are gonna have a child. And most of them are gonna have probably been married once or some shit like that, and then you're gonna be sitting there like, there's a good man here and he happens to have a child, and you might be a step parent, but that doesn't mean that he can't show you a full dose of love and affection and care and devotion just because he has a child. You just become a part of an interesting family. And you know, you get a little baby practice before you actually have your own baby. There you go. And hopefully the baby mama is a decent human being that's not a bitch. And you don't have to deal with her still wanting to be with your nigga. Because that's a fear too. Like, I don't. Because I have a lot of pent up trauma. And I'm just waiting for that moment where like something makes me black out. And then I do hurtful things that can end me up in jail. And so I just need certain types of people to stay the fuck away from me. And so that's something that you also have to consider too when you're considering a man with a child. What is your relationship with your baby mama? Are you friendly? Is she crazy? Are you crazy? Do you see your child? Do you care for your child on a regular basis? Because then you also have to consider, if he's not caring for his child, and if he's not making attempts to love and care for his child, then what type of person are you? This is a little being. And you just said, fuck this child. Like, I can't. But in this scene, we can see that Issa is still attached to Lawrence. She is. I don't care. She says she loves... You can love multiple people. And you can be in love with multiple people. But I think she's more in love with Lawrence. And if Lawrence has... No, because Lawrence didn't do shit. It's Issa. She let that nigga go. She let that nigga go because of biases and bullshit. And I remember her talking shit when Molly was with that bi nigga. And she was hyping Molly up because she didn't want to be with that bi nigga. No, see, y'all need to get your shit together. Of course, Issa then says this shit that we all say, like, you know, if me and Nathan don't work out, you know, I'm ready to start over. I'm okay. I'm okay. No, you're not, girl. You're not okay. Your feelings will be hurt. You'll be sitting up here sad in the face like, oh, nobody wants me. Yeah, I know it was gross. I don't care. Nobody loves me. And then it would just be like, okay, girl, you could have multiple niggas, but your fault. It was your fault with Lawrence. And you are inconsistent, and it is what it is. And then, of course, during the party, Molly's over here on the phone. Her phone rings, and she's like kikiing it up with Torian. And she comes back, and I guess she told her girls about Torian and the retreat and how they was having little, and there's an aura of we want to fuck. There's a fucking aura around the both of them. And she's telling them how, like, he been texting her at night about the reports and business, and he's been influencing this aura of fucking. And so she doesn't know what to do. And so Kelly was just like, I mean, the game is bringing stuff out. Maybe you should text. And Molly, like, it looks like I thought she texted him because she picked up her phone and was looking at it, and I thought she texted him, but she didn't, apparently not. Then we go back over to Lawrence and Condola. He finished her shows. And then he's helping her feed the baby, and he's showing her how he does the choo-choo train with the baby, chugga, chugga, chugga. And I was like, yes, I guess. And then she was just like, oh, you're so good at that. And he was like, yes. And then she was like, oh, you're such a great dad. And he was like, yes, thank you. I really appreciate that. And I was just like, that's magic. Magic. I feel like it's going to be awkward black girl. Only instead of ending up with the white man, she's gonna end up with this light-skinned nigga. And it's just like, that rents a chair at the barbershop. Maybe he'll be a celebrity barber, just like that dude that works at the barbershop. He looked like he make decent money, on a regular, but it's not about the money. No, because it's a pattern. Then she's like, she's falling into the same fucking pattern. I mean, but maybe he's not gonna be a Lawrence. Maybe he's not. Look at me talking to myself, talking to you, talking to myself. Yes. Maybe he's not gonna be a Lawrence. Maybe he's gonna be like, I'm gonna work through my shit, because he did apologize at the end. He came back and he was like, I'm avoidant and I need to work on that, and I'm not going anywhere, and I do love you, and all this other shit. And I was just like, yes. I'm so happy that you see that and that you're working on that. I just don't want you to be with Issa. But anyways, she's just like, well, back to Lawrence and Condola. She's just like, oh, you're so great at that, and you're such a great dad, and they're standing there talking, and it's magical. He's feeding the baby, and it's magical, and if they end up together, that's magical, and it's all magic, magic, magic. And then we go back to Issa at the party with the girls, and they still doing the game, and this is where she tells them that she ran into Lawrence and Condola and all this other stuff, and then she's going into like, oh yes, I'm fine though, everything's great though, everything, like, she's pretending that she don't want that nigga, but she wants that nigga. We all know she wants that nigga, and she's questioning herself. And of course, I think I said it earlier, but it was actually this scene right after the whole, like, oh, the chugga chuggas and shit with the baby. That we see Molly is hyping her up about not having, being a step parent. I'm just like, bitch, shut the fuck up, let her make her own decisions. Like, that nigga, I'm tired. I just feel like her and Lawrence belong together, and there's just a happenstance of a baby. Yes, we will raise the child when he's over at our house, and the child will be raised by his mother when he's over at Condola's house, and me and Condola will be cordial. Because I don't like that bitch, because she was first. And I think that's what it is. She was first. She had the nigga baby, and she wanted to have Lawrence's baby. All them years, and Lawrence laying up on the fucking couch, working at Best Buy, her taking care of that nigga, and he got the audacity to go and have some oopsie baby with this bitch. And it's like, okay, I get it, I understand, but you still want to be with him though. You still want to be with him though. You still want to be with him though. Right. We're still at Issa's house, and they're getting ready to go to dinner. They had a reservation at 8. It's 7:40. They're getting ready. And so, I think it was Molly who was talking about, I love that we're all together. And then Issa was like, how long has it been since we've been together? And it was like 3 months. It's been 3 months since they've been hanging out all together. And then they do like a little sister hug, some waiting to exhale shit. And then Tiff comes up with the bomb, and she's moving to Denver. And the girls are just like, oh no. And Tiff was just like, oh yes. And then Kelly was like, why did you tell me? And Tiff was just like, because then it would have made it real. And, I think it's better for our finances, and it would be better for the baby. And he has family over there, and blah, blah, blah. And everyone's just was like, they were understanding. They understood, like, because we're all adults and shit like that happens, and we can just go to Denver and stay at some weed ranch and eat edibles. They have weed ranches, bed and breakfast ranches in Denver, where they serve you nothing but weed food. I saw it on a documentary. And they can have ladies' night, day, weekend over there. There's nothing wrong with that. I feel in my spirit that nothing's wrong with that. So they all hug Tiffany, and then they decide not to go to dinner because, you know, Tiffany is too emotional and she would probably start crying and be an extra dinner and it would have just been too much. So they decide to stay in the house and have a little patio party and get high on the patio. And, you know, it's cute. It's cute. It's just giving me Waiting to Exhale vibes. Like, it really is. You know, a little bit of a dab of practical magic. But all of them, like, women's movies in the 90s were doing shit like that. The homegirls were just all hanging out at the house, drinking. Maybe not smoking weed. Because they wasn't about to show that on television in the 90s unless it was a gangster movie. But there was a... Wait, did they smoke weed in Waiting to Exhale? They might have. Never mind. Let me shut the fuck up. But... yeah, it was all just hanging out at the house and then on the patio and they little like lingeries and shit. And then we go back to Lawrence and Condola. I'm happy that their mental health is, and their friendships and potential, I guess if they want them to get together niche is and he's just telling her like how, you know, he's sorry that he came down on her so hard and how he wasn't there for her during her pregnancy. Apparently she had considered an abortion when things got really bad and he wasn't there, and he was just like, I don't blame you for that, I understand, which is very nice because most guys, especially the way Lawrence was in the beginning when he first came through with the for the baby, was tripping hella hard. He probably would have been upset. But he said no, he did the right thing, and he said no, I understand that and I'm sorry that you went to that place. That's very nice. Yes. This is how you should respond because these are human beings with emotions and your emotions aren't the only emotions that matter. The mommies and the babies' emotions matter too. You aren't the only one, little child. I don't like how they're showing that. This is what you should be doing. This is how you should be responding when you feel emotional or overwhelmed about something. You should talk about it and communicate and also understand what the other person is feeling as well, especially if that other person is the mother of your child. So he understood, he apologized, and then he left. It seemed like it was friendly, but it also had undertones of fucking in the air. Potential fucking. We only have 3 episodes left, so I just feel the type of way. I'm just like, what are they going to show in these 28-minute episodes, in the next 3 episodes, to turn this shit back to where it needs to be? Because I need her to be with Lawrence. Maybe she's just going to be single. Maybe they're going to pull them bullshit of, I am every woman. It's all in me. I don't need no man. I'm going to go off and be alone and go to therapy and work on myself. Okay, girl. I just want her to be back with Lawrence and for them to ride off into the sunset. And you know, whatchamacallit can go do something. You know, Nathan can figure out his life. He'll figure it out, you know. I mean, but if she stays with Nathan, I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just that I don't like this because I don't like it. I don't. But if it happens, it happens. And I guess I have to be like, whatever. Oh. I firmly am on Lawrence's side. I know. I just want to see 2 chocolate people together. Having a little chocolate baby. And getting married first. Let's say it right. Getting married and then having the chocolate baby. Okay? That's my fantasy. That's what I want to see because you don't get to see it all the time. There's more shows out now, you know. Our Kind of People. I started watching it and because I wasn't in the headspace to watch that, and Insecure, I haven't been watching it, but it's really good. The first episode was really good and I just need to get back on it. But then that's how I do sometimes is I'll sit and wait so I can binge all the episodes together rather than be waiting on the edge of my seat every week. Oh, cliffhanger. And I'm like, no, we're not in the 90s. We're not in the early 2000s anymore. Put all the episodes out so we can watch them. You know, Harlem, I want to see that too. All the episodes I think are out on Amazon Prime. That looks like a good show. There's a lot of shows that I want to watch, but it's like Insecure has me upset because it's ending and I just feel the type of way and I feel emotional, and every episode as we get closer and closer to the end it's bothering me and it's upsetting me and my homegirls. So I just can't, I don't have a headspace for like all the other black shows when I'm trying to like just let out that emotional release of Insecure leaving us. It's fine. It's not fine, but it's fine, I guess. You know, she can't stay, because I can understand, because she's basically been on the same show since the 2010s. Awkward Black Girl is just Insecure with less production. You know, the less of a production budget. And so you get tired of playing the same fucking part all the time. I understand that. You know, you're doing the same shit. You know, like them niggas from Harry Potter. They will always be Harry Potter, Hermione, and Ron. I don't care how many shows Daniel Radcliffe is in that he's doing weird shit and taking off his clothes in front of horses and all this other bullshit. He's always going to be Harry Potter. He's going to be, oh, Harry Potter grew up and started doing acid and then started doing weird shit. It is what it is, okay? You don't want to end up like that. You know, like them niggas from Twilight. Them niggas always going to be from Twilight. No, not really. No. Kristen Stewart just be acting the same in every movie. Like, even that Diana movie, I saw the trailer for that and I was just like, it's a British Twilight. And she's stuttering and huffing and puffing just like she did in Twilight. I mean, she did a decent job for what I saw of a little bit of the little scene that she spoke in, but it still just feels like it's a British Twilight. I don't have a British accent. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Anyway. Lawrence leaves and, you know, he leaves Condola's house. And then we go back to the patio with the girls. And then they decide to start, like, first they want to text Molly's coworker Torian. And Kelly's just like, it's the game, we have to follow through. And so then Molly is about to text Torian this little paragraph that she wrote about, hey, some, whatever, trying not to sound too sexy, but still trying to hint at sexiness. And then before she hits send, Dro calls. Light-skinned nigga that's polyamorous, that was playing with her emotions, doing boyfriend shit, but then still saying, oh, but I'm polyamorous. I don't do those things and monogamous and shit. We're just fucking around, but you're doing boyfriend shit, honey. You're not just fucking around. You're caring about her emotions. She didn't agree to, like, do more than fuck around. You're doing boyfriend shit, and then you're getting mad that she's getting attached or whatever he did. I don't know, but he's calling her, and they're all like, why is he calling? And she's like, I don't fucking know. And so I don't know if she picked up the phone or not. I know we didn't find out why he was calling it, so we'll probably find out in the next episode, which is cool. And then Issa had a bright idea to pick up the phone and call Lawrence. And Molly's like, who are you calling? And she's like, I'm gonna call Lawrence. And then Molly's like, no, bitch. I jumped too when she did. I was like, no, bitch, because I've had my number of drunken phone calls to niggas. You don't do that. We don't do that. No, not when you're drunk. And Molly says something very important. She says, if you still want to call him when you're sober, then do it. But no, don't do this drunk. And so she takes the phone from her, and then she reads her a little bit. She's just like, you know, when Nathan said that you were inconsistent, this is what he means. She's impulsive. She just does things impulsive based off of her emotions and shit. So because Nathan and her had a little argument, you're gonna run to Lawrence? Girl, if you don't go get your shit together. Why isn't she in therapy? Why is Molly the only one in therapy? Maybe Tiffany's in therapy too. You know, she seemed like one of them people that would go to therapy. I don't know. She had postpartum, so she probably is in therapy. Who knows? I'm probably into everybody because I don't fucking know. They only talk about Molly being in therapy like Molly was the worst of these hoes. Like, girl, please. All these people, every last one of them, male, female, them days, all them people need to be in therapy. I don't think there's any of them days, but still, they all need to be in therapy. And so, this is what you're talking about. Why are you being impulsive just because you and Nathan got into a little fucking argument? Talk that shit out and see what happens. If it doesn't work out, take some time to yourself and figure that shit out and then decide what you want to do next. If after maybe a few weeks of figuring that shit out, you want to text Lawrence, then text Lawrence. Don't do it randomly the day after you have an argument, a couple days after you have an argument with Nathan and while you're drunk. Girl, what's happening? You want your cake and eat it too. You want to be with Lawrence and Nathan. What's happening, girl? Girl. Stop it. So the next day, Issa's saying goodbye to her homegirls. I feel like this is kind of a filler episode, but also they're leaving some stuff for us to like contemplate for like the last 3 episodes. It feels like one of those Naruto filler episodes. Like, oh, nothing actually happened, but some stuff did. But it didn't answer any questions. It just kind of left us questioning more. And so Nathan texts the next day. And he's just like, when you're busy, can you give me a call? And she's like, she calls him immediately. And he's like, I'm sorry that I am the way I am and I'm not going anywhere, and sometimes I can be avoidant and I'm working on that. See, niggas, that's just admit your issues. Admit the problem. You're avoidant. Why are you avoidant? Because I saw my dad hit my mom. Because my dad abandoned us. Because my mom used to compare me to my dad and she emotionally abused me. Whatever the fuck happened. Admit that shit so you can let it the fuck go, so you can have viable relationships in your life. That's all you gotta do. Just admit it. Admit the shit. Be honest with your emotions. This ain't even about him being with Issa. This is about him manning up and saying, like, this is what was happening. I'm sorry. I'm actually in love with you. But sometimes I get into my own head about it. Anxiety. That's called anxiety. You're overthinking because you're anxious. And this situation made you feel like you were being backed into a corner. And then you became anxious. And then you said, I'm just going to leave everything because the people at my job, I thought they were my friends. They're not. They never were. They were just your acquaintances and your coworkers. They made me feel left out and fucked up, and then now I come to you and I try to complain about it, and you just look at me and tell me that you love me, and now I feel even more backed into a corner and I don't know how to respond to that, so I'm just gonna leave everything, just knee-jerk reaction and leave everything. And it's like, nigga, no, sit down and think about it. So he said, no, but sometimes you gotta leave these niggas to think too. You can't just be all up in their face all the time. That's why you set the boundary, and if they don't follow through, you step back. And if they figure it out, they'll come and they'll apologize. But if they don't figure it out, they'll just keep on the same path of fucking up for the rest of their lives. At least you won't be a part of it. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's going to hurt your feelings, but you won't be a part of that spiral that they're going through because they have issues. Something's wrong with them. So, work on your shit. Figure your shit out. How about, yes, figure your shit out, because that's what he did. He figured it out a little bit. We're not going to say all the way. We're not going to give him one apology and act like he's never going to do some shit like this again, because this is a pattern. And when things are a pattern like this, you got to go to therapy, you know, because what can happen is you could just be waiting for a big enough trigger. Waiting for a big enough trigger for that pattern to explode out again, and just hope that he will catch himself like he did last time, but even quicker, so that you don't have to have an argument and you don't have to distance yourself for him to figure it out. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like you're waiting. You're just sitting there waiting because he's not in fucking therapy. It's like, I need to work on that shit. Okay, so what are you that would be my next question. So what are you actively going to do to work on it? See, niggas are going to hate me. I just need a very patient husband, because I will go into therapy mode real quick and just be asking all these questions that make you feel fucking stupid. I know I will. And that's something I need to work on, but it's like, I need to know now, like, what are you going to be doing to work on this? What coping skills? Are you going to therapy? Like, what? Because I can't just be sitting here with your word, because last time when you came back at midnight, you said you was going to work on some shit, and you're still doing the same shit. So I need to hear some solutions, some interventions, some coping skills. What are you going to actively be doing to work on this issue that you have? And if you can't come up with some responses and some answers, then I'm going to need to step the fuck back, because I'm tired. This is like the second time he's done some shit like this. Only this time, it's not as bad as the last time. So there's improvement. So maybe next time, it'll be even more improved. Maybe next time it'll just be a quick thought, and then it'll like dissipate and he won't act on it or say shit. But, you know, hopefully one of those things is go to therapy. I'm just gonna keep saying everybody in this show needs to go to therapy. And so he apologizes. He says, I love you. And then Issa's just floating on cloud nine. She's all happy. And she's seeing that. So what she's saying here is that men can come back, figure their shit out, and apologize, which is probably something that she hasn't really experienced that much, because her and Lawrence was just making excuse after excuse after excuse of why he couldn't get a fucking job that was viable for him, and being depressed all the time and working at Best Buy. And years of that can just make you feel like, oh, well, no man can get it shit together. It's the same reason that when our parents abuse us, we feel like everybody in the world is gonna hate us. My mom couldn't love me, so why would anyone else love me? Because, bitch, they're different. They're different people. Your mom went through her own individual things that made her unable to love you the way that you needed to be loved. That doesn't mean she didn't love you. It just means that she wasn't able to show you love the way that you needed to be shown love because she couldn't do that for herself. That doesn't mean everybody in the world has mental health issues like your mom. And I went through this. A lot of people go through this. If my parent couldn't be this, that, and the other, how could other feel the same way about me? Because you have to learn. Everybody's an individual, and that means that there is a possibility that there's someone out there that will love you the way you need to be loved. It is what it is. But so she probably just expected that from every man after Lawrence. You know, every man's gonna treat me like shit. And then, you know, the succession of men afterwards were just niggas that she fucked around with, or niggas that were fuck boys and stuff like that. So it was just kind of like, every man is like this. So when he did that and walked out on her, of course she was gonna say some shit like, oh, well, you know, it'll be fine though. I picked myself up before. I can do it again, bitch. Like, because why wouldn't she expect him to be gone for good? Why not, if that's what she's used to? You get used to it's brainwashing, you know, by life. Life has brainwashed you. Niggas have brainwashed you into believing that this is what they do. So why not? I was looking at this meme on Instagram. Let me see. Where is my phone? I'm gonna read it. Because niggas be like, oh, it's just because you picked the wrong man and you need to look out for signs and red flags and da 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 da. And basically it's like, it's always choose better men. It's never maybe men paint themselves out to be a better man then later show their true colors. The red flags are there. Do y'all not understand manipulation? These types of men manipulate to the point you don't even notice them. Rose-colored lenses are a real thing when you're in love. Stop dismissing the fact that these men switch up. They do. These men will fucking Oscar award-winning performances. Love and flowers. Like, look at what Nathan did in the beginning when they were at the hospital. If you need me, I'll be there for you. Helping her walk the dog. Doing all the extras. As soon as she said, I love you, he acted like she didn't even say nothing. He just looked at her and gave her a kiss. And she was just like, the next episode, she was just like trying to figure out like, why didn't you say it? Because they've known each other long enough for her to say, I love you. They've known each other for 4 or 5 seasons. It is what it is. They've known each other for years. It's time to say I love you. Maybe even 6 years, because there's a whole year that they're talking about that they didn't even do a season for. So she has a right. She has the ability to fall in love. It's not too quick. It's not, oh, well, they only been talking for a few weeks. No, they've known each other long enough that she can say that. So yeah, it's just like, it's scary. And so, of course, she's going to expect him to dip. And, of course, she's going to prepare herself and brace herself for him to dip. And then she's going to be like, okay. So he did the right thing, though. He thought about it, and he came back and apologized. But I just hope that this pattern doesn't pop up again. And I'm still on the financial tip, too, because in the next episode, they showed the promos. And she's talking about how she got all this money in the bank now. I hope he's a secure man. I hope he's secure enough, and it looks like he may not be based off of that shit that happened at the barbershop. I mean, yes, they attacked your mental health directly, but to go from they attacked my mental health directly to telling your girlfriend that you're about to leave LA because these motherfuckers hurt your feelings, that's not secure. I can understand you being angry and your feelings hurt, but you're jumping to, I'm just gonna leave. Fuck you. Fuck the fact that I said you're my girlfriend. Care about your feelings. No. So I hope he's a very secure man that will be okay with the fact that she may make a lot more money than him. And that they can, if they're going to keep them together, that they can work it out and figure it out and work through it. I hope she gets with Lawrence. Lawrence has a tech job. He's figuring out his shit. This is a journey where they figure themselves out separately and then they come back to, I just wanted to get, if you're going to end the fucking series, end it on a good foot. That's the only thing. End it on a good foot. Don't end it like you did Awkward Black Girl. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't. Oh God. Just end it on a good foot. That's all I want. That's all I want. Just end it on. Just let them be together, please. Oh, if they go, because you're gonna end the series really, and she's gonna be with Nathan. Is she really gonna be with Nathan? Tell me, because if so, then it's just like, let me brace myself to be fine with that, like truly and dearly fine. I think it just came out the woodworks. I mean, like, ew. So yeah, I'm a little more tipsier than usual probably. So I don't know, but I do hope that you enjoyed this review. Don't come for me because I want her to be with Lawrence. I'm glad both men are working on themselves and healing and doing things like that, but they both need to go to therapy so they can heal further. And she needs to be with Lawrence. Oh, I mean, Nathan can still heal. He can still heal without being with Issa. I'm just saying, like, she needs to be with Lawrence. Make it so that she's with Lawrence. Fuck. Oh. I would just be so upset, bothered, feelings hurt. And then I would have to just go on, and this would be like the annals of Black history. Is that the word, annals? The hallways, the halls of Black history will be that this fucking show ended and she got with Nathan forever and ever. Is this really how you want to end it? Is this really how you want to end the series? You think about that. You think about that, Miss Issa Rae. Is this how you want to end this Black history moment, okay? Where dark-skinned women were ruling the television, and now it created other shows for dark-skinned women like back in the 90s. That's how you want to end it. Okay, go off, sis. Please let her end it, Lord. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know what you thought. And yeah, later days.